Cool. So, welcome guys to a live demo of Contracts Connected. Really, what we're doing is we're essentially building an automated back office for construction. Everything from, the initial contract to the ongoing paperwork with your vendors is fully automated. So, we're no longer kind of chasing things down over email. We're no longer copy and pasting into Word documents, or even filling out standard forms from the government for things like the SF 1413. So I'm going to jump right into it. The kind of rundown for show today is going to be first, I'm going to show you guys a few slides, kind of educate on, what the problem is exactly that we're solving and how it looks. A lot of times we're in the day-to-day operations and really don't realize how intense this kind of paperwork burden is. So I'm going to show you guys a few slides, kind of give you a visual of the before and after, and then I will jump into a quick demo here. So first things first is we really like to kind of start out by putting you guys in the right state of mind here. So really what we have is just a list of what general contractors typically say to us when they come into a demo or something like that. So here we have some quotes like, I hope we have everything we need in terms of the documents to be fully compliant from for a subcontractor to general contractor relationships. You mean COI, stuff like that. I just typed the same thing into 5 documents. You could type the same project name into 5 different places of a subcontract. So taking that kind of off the table, using Excel trackers for 100 plus documents. What is the status of that contract? Too many hands in the pot. We don't know if it's been sent. We don't know if it's been signed. Who signed it on the vendor side? Did we sign it on our side? Did it get filed away in the right place? Did somebody download it out of DocuSign? Where is that file? So, you guys are getting flooded with attachments constantly. Getting those attachments saved and, renaming the file to the correct name and saving it to the correct subfolder, that takes time. And, when we're short on time, that's kind of a low thing on the priority when you have other things going on inside of the projects that you guys are managing. That sub shouldn't be on site. That vendor shouldn't have been paid. This is again going back to we don't know if we have everything that we need from this sub. We don't know if we have everything that we need for them to be paid, to be on site. If their certificate of insurance is expired and they didn't renew it properly and something happens when they're on site, it's bad news for everybody involved. And then subcontractors, if you do withhold payment, if certain documents are missing, um, they'll get pissed if they're like, yeah, I sent it to you. And you guys say, I don't have it. And where'd it go? I sent it to the project manager and they should have sent it to the accounting team. So making all of that kind of obsolete, you guys aren't going to have to worry about that anymore. And I'll show you guys that a little bit later on kind of the afters. But this is essentially just a equation that we're looking at here. So, GCs do multiple projects a year. GCs take months to do those projects, typically 12 months. And you have multiple vendors on each project to make sure the project gets done. Vendors are on site for months at a time, and we require the same documents from each one of our vendors. So you guys probably see a pattern and you're requesting the same documents over and over and over again from all your different vendors that are on these projects. It's just a repeatable process at the end of the day. So what I want you guys to take away from this slide is this is an equation. It's repeated and it just happens over and over and over again. So if I were to plug some numbers into this equation, oh, first off, like there isn't any tools out there that help companies deal with the back office document stuff on this. So we are going to be the first ones to do things the way I'm about to show you, which makes us a one of one unique solution. And we are built by another general contractor. So this is built out of an industry need from an industry insider, an industry veteran that had a successful GC that we'll get into later. But this equation that I mentioned, if I were to throw some numbers into here, I'm going to throw 12 months as like an average duration. I'm going to throw in, 5 months for how long a vendor is on site for. And then I'm going to say, we use about 20 vendors per project. So your numbers, will go up or down from these. these are the numbers that we see from our users. So this is pulled directly from our user database and the GCs that we have conversations with. So if I were to take this 12 months, 5 months, 20 vendors, and I were to say, okay, for federal projects, what do we send these guys? This is a contract package, and then this is the monthly documents after somebody starts on site, right? So contract packages, typically include a contract, whether it's purchase order, subcontract, professional services agreement, a certificate of insurance, you might need to collect a W-9, business license, SF-14, 13, those types of deals. And then once they start work on the project, you're going to have to collect all these documents every single week, month, year. So if I were to take a look at the 9 documents that we collect out of the contract package just to get the contract kind of initiated and get them set up in our system, and then I take a look at the monthly documents that they need to be submitting to us, and I multiply that by the vendors, you'll see that I get 2,880 documents per project. And this is, again, using on the lower side, I know ground up construction will take more like 30 to 60 vendors. So this is on the low side. And if you're just doing 10 projects per year, again, more of on a low side number, it's 28,000 documents, almost 29,000 that you're going to have to manage. And most people are managing this over email threads in Excel right now. It's painful. So state and municipalities, same thing. You might have a little bit different number on the packages side, but this is even more than federal. And then private, we typically think of private as not having that many documents, only 5 here, only 15 per month. But if you multiply that by 20 vendors, 400 documents per project, if you just do 10 projects a year, you know, 30,000 is a crazy number, but 4,000 is still quite a bit of paperwork flying back and forth over email. So 9 out of 10 general contractors we talk to tell us about the way they're currently handling this. So we've mapped it out here for you guys so you guys can kind of like relate to it. Maybe everything isn't exactly like this for you, but this will be helpful. So in terms of the template is going to be typically something that you might have saved in a Word document. You might go grab the last subcontract that you created, and you're going to, modify a couple of things. And what this does is it just kind of, creates a little bit of a messy process because if your contract terms have been updated by your attorney and you're going to go use the previous drywall subcontract that you used, last year, just to save yourself some time. It's the same vendor and everything. You're actually missing some of the important updates in terms of language on that contract. So, having the correct version always up to date, not having to have to go, copy and paste into, 50 different pages of the subcontract. That's really what we're looking at here. Filling it out, like I said, copy and pasting is typically how it goes. And with copy and pasting, creates human error. Anytime you're having somebody go in and do things manually, it just happens, right? Like we're all human at the end of the day. So filling things in manually obviously is not going to be the most optimal, bulletproof way to make sure there's no errors. And if there's no errors, that means no risk associated with those contracts. Sending them can be a process that I've seen done a few different ways, but it's usually fragmented, right? So if you have some kind of like, you have a generator that spits it into DocuSign and you send your subcontract via DocuSign, awesome. But what about all the other documents? What about the W-9 request? What about the SF-1413? What about the certificate of insurance? Okay, now you're requesting those over email. The contracts in DocuSign, they're in 2 different places now. And when you send things over email to get these follow-up documents for the rest of the contract package, you're trying to put them in Excel and give the team visibility on that. So that's typically the send and e-sign process. With the e-sign process, one other thing is, if you're getting redlined ever by any of your vendors, you're not seeing what's happening from version to version to version. Typically, if you, let's say you do use DocuSign, and that's probably the most advanced way we've seen so far to do this, is with DocuSign. So if you're doing it over email, you have even less visibility. But DocuSign, a vendor is downloading the document off DocuSign. They're putting their marks on it. They're emailing it back. So now there's not true visibility on like kind of where this stands. All the people are seeing in DocuSign is that it's not signed. They're not seeing that red lines have been requested. They're not seeing what those requests are. It's kind of fragmented. So now you have DocuSign and email happening again. They're not talking to each other. And then you guys have to kind of make adjustments to that PDF and re-upload it into DocuSign. And DocuSign just looks at these as separate agreements, and one's been canceled. So it almost kind of like puts it in the trash can. Whereas a system that tracks the versions, hey, upload your new version here. So now we have the old version, the notes, that's documented. We have the new version, and the date that we submitted the new version, who uploaded it, and also being able to see who views it. So that's just to get the contract package signed. Like that's just this piece here. We're not even talking about the stuff that happens once they come on site. So when they come on site, if you draw a line down here down the middle, you'll see that you have reoccurring documents, and this could look like weekly certified payroll if it's a state or a federal project. This could look like invoices if you want to collect invoices in here, daily reports, or even expiring documents like an expiring business license, an expiring certificate of insurance, whatever you have. But this is typically tracked in various Excel trackers that the team does not have visibility to. They have to now go request these things over email. They get it back, they download the attachment, they open the attachment, they look at it. Okay, is the certificate of insurance information correct? Yes. Okay, cool. I'm gonna go log it in my Excel tracker so I can at least know that I got this. And now I'm gonna go file it away after I rename it, and hopefully I refile it in the right place, and hopefully I have the time to even do that in the first place. And then I need to monitor my Excel tracker. So now I'm checking this Excel tracker and I'm just wasting time looking at this Excel tracker every week or month to make sure that I have everything. So as you could tell, I mean, this is just like a very, very inefficient, painful process that the industry has dealt with, and every GC has just had to deal with it a different way. And when you expand from, doing commercial and private work over to federal, you kind of take that like old private kind of process and you just stuff more paperwork in it, and before you know it, it's a pretty complex Excel tracking, and things are getting missed. And really, it's when it's too late sometimes is when you know that a document is missing or something like that. Like, hey, this vendor requested payment. We check certificates of insurance. Oh crap, that's been expired for, maybe 4 months. So what can we change about this process between, finding the templates in a Word doc, filling them out, sending them, trying to do e-signature through DocuSign while I'm requesting certificates of insurance over email, and I'm putting them in trackers, and I'm then trying to like make sure that I have all of the expired documents and all that kind of stuff. How do we fix this? So what we did is we said, we can't change that we need all of these different types of documents. We can't change that in a contract package, we're going to have to collect documents. And when they start work on a project, we need reoccurring documents as well as monitoring anything with expiration dates. So how do we manage these thousands of documents per year better? And what we did is we said, okay, we can't change that we need those papers from our vendors, but we can change this process and how we do it. So we broke this entire process down into three simple steps. And this is three simple steps that a general contractor used to go, from 0 to $100 million in revenue in 10 years with only one person managing upwards of 100,000 documents. And I'll get into that in just a second. But the three easy steps are, you set up a project and a scope. And the scope is just vendor information. Um, if you guys want to bring in somebody in addition to the contract admin into the platform, you can set up approval flows. And with approval flows, somebody like the PM can get in there and they can draft their inclusions and their exclusions. And the management or whoever's assigned to approve that stuff can get in there and basically give it the green light. And they are certain that what they said is approved, is what gets into the contract. Nobody's having to do any copy and pasting into any document templates or PDFs or emailing. So this is basically just setting up the project and the vendor's information for that project. You hit send, and when you hit send, the entire contract package in one click is filled in. So the entire subcontract, the certificate of insurance is requested, the W-9 is requested, everything else that you're going to need from this vendor is automatically requested and tracked. So once it gets sent out, you didn't have to send any emails. You just hit one button. It sent the whole contract package, automatically tracked everything. Then it's going to take care of this e-signature, the collection of any documents, and the storage of them. So I said three steps. We put in the project information, the vendor information, we sent the contract, and the final step is signing. So we have a full e-signature platform in the platform. And then it collects it, meaning, hey, if a vendor didn't sign it this week, if a vendor signed it but then didn't give me his W-9, the system's automatically going to go chase that stuff for you. You're no longer, emailing them every single week or remembering to say, hey, I need to go through all my documents and make sure that I email out all the missing certificates of insurance that I need. It will go out, collect it, and remind them until it does collect it. And then it's going to store it perfectly for you. So it's taking away the process of having to triple click into three subfolders, renaming the file, and then uploading the file. It's doing all of that for you on autopilot. So this entire process is boiled down into filling in some simple information and pressing send. Everything else is automated. And then what about this kind of ongoing stuff? We're looking at invoices, releases on the federal projects. We're looking at certified payrolls, even daily reports. What about this stuff that we need from them once they start on the project? Well, the cool part about this is you do nothing. It automatically knows, when a document is expired. It automatically knows when you need a new certified payroll or when one's missing. The system's automatically going to follow up with that vendor every single week until it gets that documents. And it's automatically going to update any tracking and reporting. So now you're no longer having to communicate via Excel tracker to PMs, who could be on site and who can't be on site. You're not having to communicate to the accounting team, who's green lit for payment and who's not. This is all happening automatically. No clicks, no extra work, no extra hours. It's it's literally working for you and saving you time. So if I come down, I just wanted to mention, there's contract solutions out there and, there's a certificate of insurance solution out there. There's a weekly certified payroll solution out there. There's invoicing solutions. This is the first platform that brings the contract creation, the contract generation, the contract e-signature together with the flow down documents, collecting the W-9, collecting the certificate of insurance, tracking certificate of insurance dates, collecting the weekly certified payrolls or the daily reports or whatever else you're collecting from your vendors. This is the only platform out there that's doing both of them on autopilot. And in terms of a case study, Herman Construction was a GC that first used this system. Their numbers looked like this. They were doing about 100 unique documents per vendor. Some of their stuff was federal, some of the stuff was private, and some was like state and municipality. So they had a really broad range of different type of work they were doing, which created, a lot of different contract templates. So this system was really useful to them to make sure that the right contract templates were being used and nothing was being kind of like altered on accident or anything like that. They had 30 vendors per project on average, and they did 36 projects per year. So they were able to collect, generate, manage, store 108,000 documents on autopilot to the point where only one person managed that full 108,000 documents. And really, The reason this one person was able to do that is because there was waste going on in terms of like, hey, I need to go into this subfolder, I need to go update this tracker, or I need to manually write this email. This is an Autodesk report, so 35% of a construction professional's time is spent on non-optimal activities. This can go all the way through to looking for project and data information 5 hours a week. Conflict resolution can be resolved with proper documentation, proper like contract management, change order management, that kind of thing that this system would automate. And same with mistakes, like entering the wrong thing into one of the documents, or sending out a subcontract where a vendor's information wasn't changed and you actually sent it to the drywall guy, but the plumbing guy's address was forgot to be, pasted over. And what this allowed Herman Construction to do was at $100 million a year, 36 projects per year, instead of five contract admins, they were able to get down to one contract administrator. Instead of 800 hours spent on this every month, they were only spending about 160 hours. So overall, he was saving, according to him, $320,000 per year just on back office paperwork alone, which is pretty insane. And I mentioned at the beginning of this presentation, I was going to show you guys the after in terms of quotes of what people say with contracts connected. So instead of saying like, I hope we have everything we need from our vendor, people are saying, I know exactly what's missing and I know exactly who to follow up with, where to focus. Instead of typing the same thing into five places, you type project name once, it's entered into every attachment, every part of the subcontract, and it's entered in perfectly. Instead of manually updating any Excel trackers or document trackers, you literally don't have to track things anymore. This is on autopilot. You know exactly what contracts have been sent, signed, and fully executed. And we also do full e-signatures and document filling for attachments as well. So if you have like a government form, or if you even have like a form of your guys' own, maybe a contact information form or whatever it is, they can actually just fill it in our system. They don't even have to download it, fill it out and then re-upload it or re-email it to you. This is making things easier for subs to get what you need to you. Where's that file? Like I said, everything's automatically being saved in the correct place. So everything's searchable across any vendor or project. Everybody can see who hasn't submitted what with one click. So now PMs know who's good to be on site. Accounting team knows who's good to be paid. They can see that for themselves. They don't need to go email or call or text somebody to figure that out. And then information is always accessible. So subs aren't emailing things to the wrong place. They're not emailing their certificate of insurance to, the PM when the contract admin should get it. They're not sending their invoice to the PM when the accounting team should get it. So everything's going into the right place. And quickly, before I show you guys some demos, I just wanted to show you this one quote that we have from one of our users. They do primarily federal projects. But Joseph Robbins, Cape Fox Construction Group, Contracts Connected has completely transformed the way that we manage our construction business. What used to be a time-consuming and disorganized process is now streamlined and efficient. With automated workflows, easy document tracking, and seamless collaboration, we've saved countless hours and minimized errors. Contracts Connected keeps everything in one place, making contract management effortless and stress-free. Our business has never been more organized, and we can focus on what truly matters, putting work in place and growth. Highly recommend. So they're a great user of ours. I have a few more testimonials there that we might have time for at the end of this, but I did want to make sure that we have enough time to go through a quick little demo here inside of the platform. So I'm gonna pull this up now and then change my screen over. Awesome. Alrighty, so here we are inside Contracts Connected. This is going to be the first screen that loads. These are all of the projects that we are midstream on. So if you take a look here, you can see that we're building squad ops building, we're building a launch structure, we're doing a repair and repaint here, and a few other projects. So what I can see in here is first I'm going to show you guys how we set up a project, and then I'm going to show you guys how we set up a vendor's information, and we're going to send out a contract package together that would typically take hours to do manually. So I'm just going to show you guys a project that's already been set up. So if I come to the info screen here, you can see that I put in the project's name. I'm going to select the company that I'm issuing this contract from. So if you ever do joint ventures, if you have any subsidiary companies, you can manage everything in one account. The project numbers here, primary contact would be our project manager. Task assignee is who in the company is responsible for kind of making sure all these attachments come back correctly. I have my issuing office, and all this stuff's just drop downs, right? Phone number, project value, license number. Put the project description in here, project location in, project owner information in, and we're good to go. So we also have some custom fields here where you can see with the pencil icon. In your onboarding, what we do is we take a look at your contract documents. If there's anything special that, your federal contract or your private contract or your commercial contract references, we'll make sure that it's put in here. The key thing to know here is this project information is entered in one time, and you could send 5,000 subcontract packages with 100 attachments each, and you'll never ever have to paste in the project name, project number, any of that stuff ever again into any of the documents. So this is where you just put that project information. It's the same for every vendor. It's project level. So next I'm going to come into the team management. These are all the people that can collaborate on this project. They can see it when they log in. Next I'm going to go to scope workflows. This is all part of setting up a project. So here I can see, hey, maybe I have a big company and somebody else approves the scopes for when I am building healthcare versus in the Southwest region. So here you can see that's going to decide who can draft these scopes, who can write the inclusions and exclusions, and then you can see who approves these scopes. Once the inclusions, exclusions, and the price and the terms are decided, who is allowed to say, this is what's good, I'm going to green light this. Now the contract admin can get this out the door. So that's going to be what is decided based on this workflow. Same thing with the contracts. Who can negotiate the red lines? Who can sign the final contract? And then lastly, this is where it gets kind of cool. You have your project scenarios here. So like I mentioned, a case study that I mentioned, Herman Construction, they were building federal, they were building state, they were building commercial, they were building private. So here you can see all the different types of projects that, for example, this GC that I've set up in this demo account might be building federal design build, federal design bid build, private design build. So you can come in here and actually select what type of project this is. And then you get to see all of your agreements with all of the attachments already ready to go. And this is blank when you sign on with us. What we do is we literally just copy exactly what the structure of your company already is. So if you're already sending, subcontracts, we say, okay, great. What attachments do you typically ask back from the vendors when you send that, along with what is required from them while they're on site? So I'm just going to show you the subcontract as an example here. So we have the subcontract. And then you have all the attachments. And some things I want them to acknowledge, some things I want them to submit back to me. So I want acknowledgments on certain instructions so they can, not come back to me and say, well, I didn't know that was the case, or I didn't know that you actually needed that, or whatever it is. And I want certain documents back, like I need certificates of insurance submitted back to me. So this is going to be kind of all the documents that you request, your contract and all your attachments. And then this is going to be the flow down. This is going to be the stuff that happens reoccurring while you're on site, while the vendor's on site, I should say. So, you might need certified payroll, you might need monthly invoice packages, you might need daily reports. Cool. And just to show you the difference, the purchase order has a purchase order and just two attachments they need to acknowledge. So it's much, much different but this system is designed to be as flexible for your business as you need it to be, and it can kind of be tailored to exactly how you guys are already working, which is cool. So that's all you need to do to set up a project. Super, super easy. It takes seconds once you do it a couple of times. But here you have the project information, basic project information, who wants to see it in their account, who gets to work on it, who gets to approve it, who's the signer, and what project is this for? What templates are we using? Simple as that. So now I can come back to my projects. I see my squad ops building project here. Now I can start making vendor level information things. So here you can see I have roof, paving, tile, drywall. These are all different scopes of work that I've already bought out or sent contracts for. This is the company. I'm using the same demo company for all this, but this is the sub that I sent it to. This is the agreement, whether it's a purchase order, subcontract agreement, the status of it, and the dollar amount here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new scope. I'm going to pick which project I want this for. So I'm saying, okay, Squad Ops Building is the one I just walked you through. And here I'm just going to call it, West Building Drywall. And here I'm going to select from my subcontractors that are already preloaded in here, which is awesome. I don't have to go look anything up. I don't have to look at their quote. Their address is already loaded in here and their license is already loaded in here. Awesome. Super easy. This is a subcontractor. And now I get to choose what subcontract package I want to send this vendor. So I'm going to send them a subcontract agreement long form. So keep in mind, I just showed you guys on that drop down all of the attachments that come with this. Due date, this is our internal due date. I want to make sure that our team gets this out by, 6/25. Our budget for this might be $100,000, and our subcontract number might be this. And now I can come in here and get into the schedule of values. So maybe they're doing some demo work for a lump sum of 10K. And then they are going to be doing, some new drywall work for a lump sum of 80. Oops. Cool. The inclusions would go here, exclusions. And when I save this scope, something cool is going to happen. So we're now creating a collaboration screen. So this is, pending, this is a draft. And in terms of what we have going on here, I can scope chat with my team and I can ask them questions about this. Um, what terms should we put in the exclusions? So I can come in here, chat somebody, and it would ping me with an email saying, hey, Lars has tagged you on the West Drywall scope for the Squad Ops building. Answer his question. I can also put attachments in here. So if I have, 7 different drywall quotes from 7 different drywall guys, I can just upload them all here. So now the whole team has access to take a look at all the vendor information, the vendor costs, the vendor inclusions, exclusions, and they can also reference all the quotes themselves to understand if this is the correct vendor that we should go with. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to send this for internal approval. So right now we're going from drafting to internal approval. And this is going back to, the team knowing exactly where each contract is in this process. A lot of times people are working on these inclusions and exclusions and they might have sent it off for an email, feedback from somebody on the team and it kind of gets stuck there and they forget to get to it or they open the email and they got busy and they forgot to reply. So this is giving the whole team visibility on where this is. And if I come to my dashboard, I'm going to be able to see if I look a month out in terms of due dates, I can see that there's one that's pending approval, one scope that we're drafting. And here's the West Building drywall that I was just working on. So let's pretend that I sent this for internal approval. Lars gets to take a look. Lars says, I like it. Good to go. Awesome. Now this push commitment button just turned blue. So Lars can be certain that everything that he's approving here is going to make it into the contract documents. If for any reason somebody, comes in here and they edit things by like I'm just going to do a penny just to show you guys. So I'm going to save the scope. It's letting me know that he's going to have to reapprove it. So this push commitment button just turned gray. Lars is going to have to reapprove this scope of work here. And the reason for that is because this person needs to be certain that, the right things are going into their contract documents. So I approved it again, push commitment button turned blue. We're done. All we got to do is double check a couple things. So I'm going to hit push commitment here. Here I can see at the subs company, if I need to add a user for anything, I can see who it's going to be assigned to, who's the signer over there for the e-signature side of it. I can come in here. I'm going to get to preview all of the different documents that are going to send out to this vendor. So if I don't need something like, let's say I don't need their SBA classification, I can quickly delete it. I'm modifying all of the attachments we're about to send to this vendor and track automatically on the fly. So delete it out, or you can add a new document from your library. I've had cases where users need to send a one-off hazardous disposal form to a specific subcontractor. You can add that really quickly right here, making sure that you guys are not sending any documents over email anymore. But I'm going to hit save and next here. And the next part is they're just going to show me, hey, this is all the stuff you have in your contract, in the attachments, in the PDFs, and the SF1413. Just verify it. And if I forget to enter anything in here, it will ask me to do it here. All right. Scope period, let's do 365 days. So if I'm good to go, all my stuff looks good. I don't want to change anything. Let's go. Here you can see all the attachments it's about to generate. You'll notice that it's renaming these documents automatically. So it's creating file names that are going to be filed away in your back office here automatically. I can download this package if I wanted to download it to my desktop to preview it for any reason, to make sure the formatting's right, to make sure everything looks perfect before I hit send. But when I hit send here, the system's automatically going to work in the background. It's automatically going to fill out your subcontract. It's automatically going to go fill out your, attachments, your SF1413. Then it's going to place it perfectly in the subs inbox. Now, if I come over to my dashboard, it says congratulations been sent. I'll see I have 3 contracts out for vendor signature. West Drywall Building showing here. It's showing green because it's not overdue. I can see all of the different tasks associated with this. So all of these things I'm waiting on and I'm pending submission from my vendors. All of these things need to be acknowledged by vendors that they've received these instructions and whatnot. And the system's automatically reminding these vendors every single week. I have a lot in here. This is demo account, disclaimer, but this system's automatically reminding these vendors every week to submit this stuff. As soon as something's submitted, you can come in here and you'll see a new section that says pending approval. So when a document is submitted, the system doesn't automatically take it that it's correct. It will say, hey, give you an email notification. You got a new document in here. Click here to approve it or deny it. You can deny it and send back notes saying why you denied it. The system will, keep track of that previously denied document with the notes of why you denied it. Send that to the vendor while making sure it reminds them to submit that new version. That would be correct. So I'm going to come into projects just to show you guys another place of where this stuff lives. So here you can see all those things in that circle are also showing here under my project. And I can filter this by vendor. I can filter this by scope. So if I'm a PM and I need to see if my vendor is all good to go, I can come in here and see it really easily. But then you have documents here. So where do things go once they get approved after they've been submitted by a vendor? They get stored right here. You can see the document name is perfectly restructured here for that fully executed paving contract. Same thing for, if they're submitting something like an executive compensation report. So you also have document activity or, all the activity for internal and external. So if I wanted to come and see what my sub's been viewing, what my sub's seen and hasn't seen, I know. I'm not just sending an email into cyberspace and hoping that, they saw everything and everything is good to go. I'm seeing it here correctly. I can also come in, just going to organize this by tasks. So I have some of my completed documents here. And here you can see we sent them a sample of what this document should look like. And this is the one that they submitted and we approved. So I can open it, take a look at it if I need to. But I'm going to come back here and try to show you guys one more. Here we go. So this one's been approved as well. And I'll show you guys a contract as well. So actually we did like West Building drywall. So let me pull this up. Here's our West Building drywall subcontract. So I'm just going to show you guys the contract that was generated and sent to the vendor when we hit send package. So all of the information that we put in together is here. The vendor's information, we sent it to ZK Drywall. This was the subcontract package I gave it. This is the name of the scope that I gave it. This is for the project we set it up on. Um, Everything was automatically filled in. These contracts are going to look exactly like the ones that your team is filling in manually. So there's no kind of back and forth on like pasting, copy paste, or worried about our system changing the way that your vendors are used to receiving agreements. So you can see here that you have upload contract version, or if the vendor happens to send it back signed over email for whatever weird reason, you guys can still use this system to generate, track, and store all the correct documents. So you can say upload signed contract here. All right. So I'm going to go back to my presentation here. Let's see. Here it is. So a couple other testimonials here. Contracts Connected has transformed our legacy document management process, which used to be incredibly time consuming. It's given us far more efficient way to handle routine, repetitive contract and procurement tasks. Here you can see Contracts Connected has simplified the complexities of federal contracting, helping us stay organized and ahead of deadlines. Now, if I come down here, there's a few other things I wanted to mention. We're really focused on being a return on investment, like a very quick return on investment. Smaller teams, saved time, reduced risk, have the people that are just spending time doing admin stuff that's not revenue producing, going and helping marketing, going and helping bidding, stuff like that. Um, we know that people have been burned in the past by certain kind of other softwares out there, been, promised everything, promised the moon, and nothing's delivered. So we want to really make sure that we kind of deliver on these promises. And that's why we've created a 90-day trial. So we really encourage people to get in, get their templates in here, and try it. Try it on one project, try it on one contract, feel the difference, see the difference. And we pretty much have nobody that's taken us up on canceling this 90-day trial just because once you see how automated this messy back office paperwork chaos can be, there's almost no way you're going to want to go back to the old way of doing things. It just wouldn't make sense anymore. And what it looks like to get onboarded, I know there's a lot of tools out there that have these crazy long onboardings. It's 90 minutes. The first meeting, we get all your contract templates. We do all the heavy lifting to get your contracts loaded in perfectly. So when you hit send, everything's getting filled out, everything's getting tracked. So we basically copy your exact process in meeting number one. And meeting number two, we show you how to use it. And meeting number three, you practice, we coach. And we also provide, and we're one of the only softwares out there that do give our users unlimited one-on-one video calls to answer questions, to continue training, anything like that. We don't force you to shoot us an email that we'll get back to you in like 3 days, like some other softwares might. In addition, if you have, employee turnover, if you have a new contract person come into the company and they need to learn this system, you can rely on us to take over that training. And all of the knowledge about the contracts is already going to be uploaded into the templates. So now we're just plugging them into a system that is going to help them be successful for the long run. So it's been awesome to see a lot of users come in here and really kind of lean into the automation that this platform gives them. The amount of, time saved and the exact path to creating a team that can do the work of 5 people, having one person on this paperwork problem. You can do a lot with those savings, and you can do a lot with that extra headcount that might be dedicated to this now in terms of winning more work, increasing revenues, increasing your top line. So if you're ready to turn, the chaos into calm, we have our phone number here. You could reach out to us via email, or you could easily book a demo with us on contractsconnected.com to answer any of your specific questions that you might have around, how a feature works, how this is going to apply directly to your workflow. The key thing to know here is we're just building automation into your guys' current process. There's no big learning curve. This is just forming to the way you guys are already doing business and operations in your day-to-day workflows. So it's not a huge learning curve, and we're not trying to change the way that you guys operate business. We are just building this very moldable solution into your daily operations to reduce time, reduce errors, decrease risk, and just make your team happier overall because they're doing less of the hair pulling out, uh, you know, crappy. I got to file this away and spend 3 hours at the end of the week making sure all my email attachments get to the right subfolders. So with that, I will end there. Come visit us at contractsconnected.com. Book in a demo. Super laid back is how we run our calls. We'll answer any questions that you guys might have, and we're happy to get into any more features. I gave you guys a really top line kind of feature set today in the demo. We could spend hours and hours going to everything that this software can do for you, but really. We're here to make this work for your guys' business and just kind of fit like a puzzle piece into your guys' daily operations that you already have established. So thanks for tuning in. Thanks for watching, and I will see you guys on the next one. Thanks.